I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times.
2011 was an interesting time for movies. In a single year, we saw a wave of films that would later be considered modern classics today. Real Steel, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, Drive, The Thing, all came out within the same year. It was also the period when the MCU was beginning to find its footing, with the release of the first Thor and Captain America movie. On the animated side, there were movies like Kung Fu Panda 2, Rango, Puss in Boots, showed just how strong animation was at the time. All of these films in their own way represented different corners of mainstream cinema. Big studio productions, massive budgets, huge marketing pushes, the kind of movies designed to dominate theaters. But while Hollywood was busy delivering blockbusters and animated hits, halfway across the world, another film was gaining headlines. A film that didn't rely on massive CGI battles, giant franchises, or a star-studded cast. Instead, relied on something much simpler, and something much more brutal. A single building, a squad of officers, and floor after floor of enemies standing in their way. This is The Raid. It's a Southeast Asian movie centered on a police raid that quickly spirals into a fight for survival. The story follows a guy named Rama, who is a rookie on a SWAT team, tasked with infiltrating an apartment building. The building is controlled by a crime lord, who uses it as a safe haven for gangs, drug dealers, and all sorts of killers. The mission initially seems pretty straightforward. Quietly enter the building, reach the top floor, and arrest their leader. His name is Tama, by the way. But the operation goes wrong when the team is discovered. Tama announces over the building's loudspeaker that anyone who kills the officers will be rewarded with free rent, turning every resident against them. Trapped inside the building with no backup, they have no choice but to fight their way out, floor by floor, through waves of criminals. It's a film that genuinely shifts your perspective on action movies and raises the bar for what the genre can be. A lot of movies you've seen, 9 times out of 10 have taken inspiration and references this movie in some sort of way.
Action icons.
It's regarded by many to be the best action movie ever made, and one that changed the genre going forward. If you look at the film or just the behind the scenes, you notice the amount of care and detail that was put into crafting this film. The director, Gareth Evans, in the behind the scenes, when asked, "How does one prepare to cast or envision the movie to go?" said once,
Prepare the cast for the film. We decided to send them off to boot camp for a training sequence. That was in Pasca.
Try to really take in as much as you can, right? The information from them and really pay attention to everything.
Kita siapkan segalanya karena film ini cerita tentang pasukan khusus. Akhirnya kita harus kirim sekitar 8 orang pemeran pasukan khusus. Kita kirim ke Kopaska, Tanjung Priuk, pasukan katak angkatan laut.
They learned several techniques, how to handle firearms, how to move as a group and clear a building, and what not to do. The reason for this was simple.
We want them to learn everything they could about the weapons they were going to use in the film, so that they wouldn't look like amateurs, they wouldn't look like they'd never picked up a gun before. But also to establish a sense of brotherhood amongst them as a group, to get them having like a working relationship and to rely upon each other like they would in real life.
And this bond is clearly visible throughout the film. They put a great emphasis on making the actors look experienced, but how about the fight scenes?
I was always more interested to combine lots of different martial arts styles into this film. I didn't want to have it just Silat versus Silat all the time. That can kind of get very boring very quickly if you have all the fighters and all the sort of good guys and bad guys all using the same martial arts discipline.
The primary martial arts used throughout the film is the Indonesian fighting style known as Pencak Silat. While there are many different variations of this discipline, it's most recognized for its fluid and rapid approach to fighting. It's a fighting style that uses every part of the body as a weapon and focuses on targeting someone's most vulnerable areas. So think of someone's eyes, throats, ribs, those sort of areas. In the film, you can see many aspects of this fighting style, whether it's striking a shin with an elbow, using a door frame to finish an opponent, attacking the neck, or redirecting someone's momentum against them. Every movement is efficient, brutal, and designed to end a fight as quickly as possible. To make the film a lot more exciting and fresh, the director employed various different fighting styles for each character. The Raid is a film that, in my opinion, contains nearly every element that makes a great fight. When I look at a fight scene, there's several things I pay attention to. Are there real stakes and consequences? Is the action clear and easy to follow? Does the choreography have a strong rhythm and flow? Does the fight ultimately provide some kind of closure? Beyond that, I look for the emotional layer. Is the fight emotional? Are the characters using their environment in creative ways? Is there an underdog dynamic or a feeling that either fighter could realistically win? When all of those elements come together, a fight becomes more than just a fight. It becomes a story being told through exchanges of punches. Every hit, every dodge can help you feel their desperation, their skills, their fear, their determination, all without a single word being spoken. Take this hallway scene for example. First and foremost, it's easy to follow. Fight scenes nowadays have this weird aspect to them where you can't really tell what's happening. In films and shows, the camera shakes too much, and there's too many cuts. While in the comic or manga, the drawings are just flat out rough and hard to follow. But if you take a look at this scene, your eyes are generally in the same spot throughout the action sequences, rather than your eyes darting left or right. The camera is steady for the most part and has a good balance between long takes and switching to a cut. Then there's the context and stakes of the entire situation, of the main character having to protect his injured partner whilst going against an entire wave of enemies. And this doesn't even touch to the actual fight scene itself. In today's video, we're exploring the art of fights. Fight scenes across different mediums, whether it's in a film, a TV show, video games, or even drawings brought to life on a piece of paper. From live action choreographies to animated panels, we're looking at the arts of fights and storytelling.
Dude, I'm stuck. Where do I even begin? Dude, there's like 500 different fights.
I've been wanting to
like,
do this
there's
video for a
gunfights,
while
there's
now,
hand-to-hand,
but one of the things that held me off.
Okay, let's just start here. What goes into a great fight scene?
Outside of other projects, is how I should structure this video. There's a lot of elements that goes into a great fight, and talking about every little thing like the choreography, editing, sound design, camera placement, impact, environment, weapons, use of space, lighting and shadows, weight, context. This video would be like 2 hours long. Me and you both don't want to be here for that long. So to simplify things, I cut it down to 5 main things that I think are essential to making a great fight scene. Motives are one of the most important elements in a great fight scene because they give the violence meaning. Without a clear reason for why two characters are fighting, the scene becomes nothing more than just a choreography. I'm not one to shy away from watching something because it looks pretty, or look, light, fire, impact frames, ooh. That's cool and all, but the fights that are memorable are the ones that have a purpose. The ones where every hit and decision inside the fight communicates something deeper. Motive shapes the entire structure of a fight. Choreographers, directors, animators, and storyboard artists design the action around what each character is trying to achieve. A character driven by revenge might fight recklessly, taking hits in exchange to land an even bigger counter. A character fighting to protect someone will position himself to tank any incoming hits. Motives affect how we consume a fight. When we can get an understanding of why characters are fighting, we naturally become invested in the outcome. A fight where both characters just duke it out is usually less compelling than one where stakes are personal. Some of my favorite battles are the ones where a fight is a clash of ideas. So think of Captain America versus Iron Man in Civil War. Rengoku versus Akaza, who one believes strengths exist to protect the weak, while one believes strength is the only thing that gives life value. Or a classic revenge story where a character's motive is to get payback or blood for something taken from them. I'm talking about Kill Bill, Kratos, John Wick, any of their fights. Motives really change a fight from just a flashy display to something that tells a story. Sure, there's the aspect of choreography that brings the visual aspects, but it's the motives that gives it that real sauce. Stakes. Stakes are what give a fight its weight and significance. Without them, fights can seem empty and uninspired. Stakes help clarify what's at risk if a character doesn't come out on top. When you're faced with the chance of losing or letting down those you care about, every step starts to feel like a battle for survival, a struggle for freedom, or a race against time to save someone from being lost forever. When the stakes are high, characters cannot afford to waste time or energy. The train fight between Spider-Man and Doc Ock works so well because innocent civilians are in danger. In the Arkham games, specifically Arkham City, Batman gets infected with Joker's blood, turning every fight, whether it's against Joker, Solomon Grundy, Ra's al Ghul, or Mr. Freeze, into a race against time. Then there's classic fights like the Marineford arc, and Luffy having to go through the strongest forces of the Marines to save his brother Ace. The rematch between Evander Holyfield and Mike Tyson at the MGM Grand Garden Arena. Leon Edwards having to pull the victory against Kamaru out the fire in the final 56 seconds of the fight. The Rumble in the Jungle, where a young, unbeatable George Foreman faced a brash and charismatic Muhammad Ali. Stakes are what turns a fight from just a cool scene into something that really grabs our attention. It's the stakes that makes us truly feel something. When the potential consequences of failure, a chance at adding something more to your legacy, and stand among the greats. That's what draws us in. It makes us truly care about an outcome of a fight. Every twist, every near miss, and every mistake carries weight. A fight that carries real consequences pushes characters to make tough choices in the moment, resulting in someone taking bolder risks, putting others before themselves, or digging deep to push past their limits. Creativity. I think when it comes to creativity, a series that I can always go back to is really any fight in the manga Sakamoto Days. I mean, it's a series where characters use everything and anything in their disposal in the fight. You could watch a fight from Ninja Kamui and appreciate it for its choreography and sick animation. But I think an underrated aspect of fight scenes is the ability to be creative. What do I mean by this? Creativity in a fight is the ability to solve problems through actions in ways that feel unexpected and specific to the moment. Creativity is what allows a fight to unfold in ways that pushes past just punches and kicks. It's about how characters adapt, improvise, and use the world around them to gain an advantage. You're in an MMA fight and you go for a kick. Oh, he ends up grabbing it. How about you use that to your advantage and do a spinning head kick? You're in a car and someone decides to pull a gun on you. Okay, how about you slam the brakes, grab a hold of his arms, and do a quick donut while using the momentum of the spin to disarm and kill your opponent. Or how about you're in a fight and you decide to use your opponent's hands to complete a jutsu. This is what I'm talking about. There's many examples of this throughout a plethora of shows, so I'm just gonna list some of my favorite. Vivi vs. Yugo, Batman vs. Superman in the warehouse scene, where you see this man slam a dude's head, attaches a zipline to this crate, and straight launches it at this guy. In the movie Extraction, where in this scene, the officer grabs the pistol slide, causing an incomplete feed. After realizing that the gun hasn't been fully cycled, he clears the weapon with one hand, and the nightclub scene in the film Monkey Man, where the main character is quite literally using fireworks as a weapon. Chris and Leon in this hallway scene and reaching an absolute flow state. Location also plays a huge role in the creativity of a fight. A good setting gives a fight a sense of place and identity. It's often the reason why certain fights become instantly recognizable. If I were to show you locations like this, or even something like this, chances are you'd immediately remember who fought there, why the fight happened, and some of the most iconic moments that took place in that space. Every space comes with its own layouts and obstacles that influences how characters move. A tight hallway leads to close combat. A bustling market leads to chaos since there's a bunch of people surrounding you. Or a fight in the rooftop introduces the risk of falling. When the environment becomes part of the choreography, that's when the most creative minds begins to show. Cinematography. Cinematography is how a scene is visually captured. It's the choices filmmakers make about camera placement, angles, movement, lighting, and composition. Anyone could hold a camera and record a shot. The difference is what exactly do you want to tell with the shot at hand. Steven Spielberg, director of Jurassic Park, Jaws, Saving Private Ryan, once put it best in an interview when he said,
It's not about camera magic.
Yeah.
I mean, when I'm looking at student films or I'm looking at first-time directors' short films, I'm not looking for how great the camera is. I mean, so many people, I can look at any TV commercial and know that there are directors out there that can place a camera and sell a product because they tell a story that holds together and is compelling and original. And that's the secret. You know, I'm more interested in a storyteller that doesn't know anything about where to put the camera than someone who knows everything about the camera but nothing about the story process.
It's about telling a story, being able to convey an emotion and response from an audience without having to use words, instead of letting the shot speak for itself. If we take this idea into fights, while different, applies in a similar way. In the fight scene, cinematography is important because it helps us understand what's happening. Two fights might have the same moves, but the way they're shot through camera angles, editing, sound, can give them entirely different vibes. Wide shots show the whole choreography in the fighter's positions, while close-ups reveal emotions and the impacts of hits. Handheld cameras can create a feeling of claustrophobia, putting us right in the middle of the action, while smooth tracking helps highlight the skill, choreography, and the precision of the fighters. Pair this with a solid sound design that adds weight and realism in the fight. There's certain fights I've watched that have become so ingrained in my mind that if I hear a certain sound effect, I instantly get an image photographed of the exact move or ability being used. The sound of impact, footsteps, and even breathing helps show to convey how strong a blow is, or if one character is starting to get tired. Subtle sounds like a crowd or the ambient noise of the environment helps you get consumed by the scene, while music can heighten tension and even add stakes. Comics and manga uses paneling and composition. Since there's no moving cameras, artists control how the action is seen by deciding what each panel shows and how it's arranged on the page. So even though comics and manga don't use cameras per se, they still rely on the same idea. Cinematography turns a fight into a cinematic experience. Camera work shapes our perspective. Framing keeps things clear. Editing sets the rhythm. Sounds adds realism. And pacing controls how the intensity and momentum of the fight builds from start to finish. Context. Context is the backbone of any fight scene. It's everything that happens before and around the fight that helps us understand why it's happening and why we should care. Without context, even the most impressive fight becomes boring. Being invested in something tends to have a greater effect. If you don't know what's at stake or why a group of characters are fighting, there's no point. For example, a fight between no established characters is often boring, but a fight between longtime rivals or friends turned enemies carries more weight because we understand that there's history there. Context also includes the environment and setting. The location of where a fight takes place can add layers of meaning. Then there's the aspect of timing and build-up, how a fight is introduced, whether it's the climax of a story, an unexpected ambush, or a long-anticipated showdown, makes all the difference in the world. Context is what connects the action to the characters, the world, and the narrative, making the fight feel like a natural and important turning point in the story. These are the 5 elements that goes into making a great fight scene. It's the motives, the stakes, the creativity, the cinematography, and lastly, the context. When put together, these 5 things makes a fight unforgettable. Motives gives the fight purpose, stakes gives it weight, creativity keeps it fresh and unpredictable, cinematography lets us experience every moment clearly, and context ties it all back into the story. The best fights aren't just about who wins, they're about what that victory cost, and in a way, that brings us back to the quote from the beginning. I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. Great fights and storytelling follows the same idea. It's not about throwing 10,000 random elements into a scene. It's about perfecting the few that really matters. And when filmmakers, animators, and artists master those elements, that's when a fight scene stops being just something we watch and becomes something we remember.